Hello, everyone. Today I couldn't find my stitch marker, so we're using one of these jewelry clasps. They're probably more durable anyway. And today what I want to do is work on the head of our moth dragon pearl. And the pattern says it's only 17 rows, so it might not actually take that long. We'll put the eyes in at between round 6 and 7. I wonder if I could somehow make like French knot eyes, but I have plenty of safety eyes too that I do this thing where I kind of tie them in using lots of yarn because those were like hand-me-downs, and I have a lot of the regular eyes, but not the backs. It's kind of like having earrings without the backs. Okay, we're starting with a chain to make the muzzle. It'll be horizontal like this, so we're going to make a chain and then crochet in it, and but we'll crochet all the way around it and then work in the round from there. Starting with 6 chains. I forgot how smallish this yarn was. Let me adjust the camera a little bit, make sure you can see what I'm doing. Now that we've reached the end of this chain, we're going to do 3 single crochet in this chain that's on the end because that'll make an increase and that'll help us go around and that'll already help build out the muzzle. Okay, next we're going to do another 3 and then increase in the last stitch. So when we end this round, we should have 12 stitches. It's kind of like doing the increases in a magic ring, only instead of in, a ring, it's more horizontal because again, we're making the shape of a nose. I really can't wait until this is done. I think it's going to be so pretty. We'll start increasing on the next round, and we should be doing so pretty quickly, but then we're also going to be decreasing pretty quickly. I forgot to get out the stuffing. I'm gonna have to get that later. I really like the colors I'm using, especially the white and pink, and I'm probably going to use them in more projects going forward. But the next kind of idea I had is to make another matching set of cats. A long time ago, I made, well, it was a few months ago. A few months ago, I made these little matching cats in yellow and purple. One second, I have a phone call. Sorry about that. It was a healthcare call, so I just wanted to check. Once we're back, once we're done this, we'll probably need to like sew out this little hole. I want to give this more of a top-down angle. Hold on. For some reason, these bigger clasps, I feel like they should be easier to open, but they always stick a little, and I don't know what to do about that. I did choose this color for a reason, though. I have a lot of silver chains and not a lot of gold ones. So I figured if I'm not going to use this for jewelry, I might as well use it for something. I could try out a different camera angle too, but I'm not sure if I can get it up high enough. Hold on a minute. Let me finish this round. Next, we're going to do 4 single crochet and then increase all around. This round, it was 3 crochet and then increase. I have this vase that I picked up from work. This is mainly what I use to clip my camera onto. It has a little clip on it. I want to see if it'll work for this. These are originally used to store orchids in. Ooh, you can see that a lot better now. I know it's very bright in here. Look, most of the time there's no light in my room because my window old and I don't have a lot of indoor lights, but it could always be dim. Okay. Ah, that's what I'm talking about. They stick. Okay, I like this angle because I feel like you can see this close up. Hold on. I'll try and adjust the light real quick. Okay, that's a bit better. Okay. I wonder if part of this is just also I'm using a really pale yarn. Oops. Whenever I make this pattern or I look at it too, I feel like the shapes of the wings remind me of petals. And I wonder if I could make one in just like plain colors without even the details, or at least not the same details. And maybe it would look like a flower dragon. And maybe I could make the antennae look like little stems. I think that could be fun. Especially because I recently was donated a bunch of yarn that I need to use up now. So I want to find something to do with it. And I have this really pretty mint green, which I want to use to make a little kitty. But I could also use that like for leaves. I have some more muted greens that I used on my mossy rock dragon, things like that. Okay. Next, we're going to single crochet once, increase 6 times, and then just single crochet 11 times. We're increasing more on one side than the other because when we make the nose, it's going to have a little swoop, and then underneath will be the chin. So one side will be concave and the other will be convex. I feel like I didn't really plan for this dragon to be a baby exactly, but it being so small makes me think like it could ride on someone's shoulder or like you could carry it around in your pocket, and that's really cute to me. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, let's check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. I'm gonna clip off the tail in a minute too. Just forgot. Next, we're gonna do 2 rounds of regular single crochet. Then we'll do another round where we increase them more, and then we'll put in the eyes. I have tried gluing them in before using fabric glue, but that did not work. Okay. When we do put in the eyes, they'll go in about here, so pretty far down on the face, and that helps make it look cuter, especially if you put them wide apart. I'm hoping that the more I use this clasp, the easier it will get to open. I'm thinking of adding a couple of pearl details onto this pearl dragon to help make the inspiration more clear, because I have a couple of just random pearl beads left over from other projects. And when I say a couple, I literally mean like two, because I've used most of them and I'm really glad I have, but that means I need to figure out something to do with like two beads, and maybe I could just like put them on her head like a decoration, or like on one of the wings to add extra sparkle. Okay, are you seeing what I was talking about now? This side is where we did the increases, and this side is where we did not. So they're going to look a little different. Once we put in the eyes too, they need to be about 6 and 7 stitches apart, which probably sounds far apart, but it works really well for stylized plushies like this. And when you put the eyes closer together, it can make them look more realistic or less cute. Mm. I'll deal with that another time. I don't know why everything looks blurrier on this camera up close. It seems opposite. I'm also trying to decide what size of safety eyes I want to use, because I want them to be relatively big, again, to add to the cute factor. But I feel like if I make them too big, that'll look creepy. or they'll just look odd because this is going to be a relatively small figure. So we might have to try a few different sizes. So yeah, you can see it better now, I think. This is going to be the forehead, and this is the chin, and the eyes will go around here. We're making a dragon plushie today. It's inspired by the mother of pearl moth. It is a little funny that this is called a mother of pearl moth dragon. It's very small. We're increasing more this round because we're getting up to the top of the head. Am I the only one who feels like bug type Pokemon are underrated? I love looking at them because they look really unique, and I feel like bugs tend to look really unique. The other day, I saw this mantis that lives in Madagascar, and it was like bright blue and pink and gold. And I was like, that's a real bug? That looks like someone's painting. Insects outnumber most other animals. I think they're in like the quintillions, which I still have trouble wrapping my head around. I have known this fact for years. And I think it would just be cool to kind of like dive into the variety of bugs that there are. Like before I saw Glycopod, I didn't really know what isopods were, especially because I was younger at the time. But then I was like, whoa, there's these armored pill bugs that live at the bottom of the sea. Obviously, butterflies come in tons of different colors and shapes and sizes, and they look like little paintings to me. I'd be curious to know more about bugs that live in the water too. Then even like arachnids and that kind of thing, like I think spiders and scorpions technically aren't insects, for example, but I still think they're really cool because they look like little machines to me. And they function in a really unique way. How they move around reminds me of little puppets. We should have 36 stitches. Let me check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27. Well, I'll just add more until I get there. With a lot of Pokemon designs, I see like the low-hanging fruit, like a flamenco flamingo or something. And like you can do that well, but I would be interested in kind of pushing the envelope more. Um, like scorpions, obviously, lots of them live in the desert. I understand why you would make a desert themed one. But because this is like with fiction, like in monster catching games like Pokemon, it's a fantasy world. You can do whatever you want. So I think it could be cool to kind of like do the opposite. Like maybe there's a scorpion type creature that lives in the freezing cold. You know, the camel spider, I don't think it's even really a spider, but one of the things that it does is sometimes when it's like seeking shade and to cool off in the middle of the desert, it hides in people's shadows. Now, it's not trying to harm us, it's just trying to regulate its own body temperature. But I feel like that's something you could do with like a fictional creature. Like it's always hiding in the shadows, but it's actually just trying to cool off. And sometimes it hides in humans' shadows and they like run away, but it's just trying to chill. I keep thinking about tundras too. I think I mentioned them the last time I was on stream. I know very little about them, but I want to understand them better. Because like I know they're like insects and tiny blue-green algae that live in the tundra, and I don't know how they do it. Like, yes, you hear about Arctic foxes, for example, but not about a lot of the rest of the creatures that live there. 27, 30, 32. Okay. We need four more. I saw a video once of a scorpion drinking, and it had like these little protrusions like this. I don't know if those are called the mandibles, but it had those little thingies on its mouth that it stuck out, and it used those to like lap up the water. And that was fascinating to me because it reminded me a little bit of how dogs drink water, where they like scoop it up with their tongue. You have scorpions, which are like a completely different kind of animal or whatever they are, and they're like venomous and stuff, but they behave in like the exact same way. It was sort of cute. I kind of want to know how we got spiders. How did the universe create like this little dot with eight legs and it eats tinier insects and like they dream and can maybe get drunk on caffeine. And I don't know how you come up with that. Maybe that's a I feel like there are so many things in evolution that can really only be explained by chance. Like there's so many permutations and so many weird things that happen in evolution. Eventually you're going to get some weird ones like a platypus. 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36. Okay, so now we're going to put in the eyes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll put this one here for now and adjust it as needed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, that's a little too close together, so I'm going to move these further apart. Okay. It looks like a little snake. Okay, so as you can see, I don't have any backings. So basically what I'm gonna do is sew these in. I may come back and add some kind of glue later, but for now I'm just gonna sew these eyes in because I don't have any backings. These are hand-me-downs. This is what the inside looks like. Once we're closer to the end of making the head, I'll stuff it too. I kind of weave through the stitches a little bit until I feel like it's secure. Something I'm doing here is just splitting the threads a little bit and looping them over because I think it makes this more secure. I'll tie this up when I'm done. I'm gonna split the threads again. All right, gonna tie this off. Okay. Well, it looks like a little lizard. All right, gonna do 2 rounds of single crochet now. I have a really exciting thing that I want to do later this week. I'm going to be working on a painting for another Draw This Year style, and I want to do some practice first. All right, once we're done these 2 rounds, we're going to already start decreasing. I do kind of want to try giving this dragon little eyelashes too, so we might try that once I'm done. So this is going to be about how wide the head is at its peak. So it's going to be a little bigger than I thought, but it's good proportions with the rest of the body. I think these eyes are a good size too. I was worried about them being too big, but I think they're pretty much the size that I need. I feel like this looks like a little earring. 1 second, I'm gonna grab my stuffing. For anyone who doesn't know, I'm using scrap yarn to stuff this. Mm. Okay. I feel like this clasp, like, it won't come open until I apply, like, maximum force, and then it springs open and flies out of my hands. Reminds me of some kind of, like, bird. I love the clown cat pattern by Holly's Yarn Creations, who also made this butterfly dragon pattern. And right now, I'm waiting on something, but once I have it, I really want to make that pattern. I noticed she uses a lot of really big, chunky yarn for her plushies, so that's something I want to try too. I have been thinking though, like, what colors am I going to use? Because right now I have a lot of green, a lot of gray. Those don't really say clown to me. But I also have lots of white, so I might use that as a base and then figure out what I want to use for the accents. In the pattern, the head is sewed on to a little angle so that it looks like the dragon is looking over its shoulder. And I'm not sure if I'll do that, but it could be cute. We're gonna start stuffing in not for a little while, but around row 15. Two, three, four, decrease time. I hope my hand isn't like getting in the way here. I can't really get the camera to be more top down than it is right now. 3, 4. Three, 4. I wonder if I should add some more black details to bring out the eyes, but I feel like that might throw the color balance off because the other colors are really soft. Okay. I think it looks like a head now. For a little while, it looked like some kind of weird mask. Now we're going to decrease every 3 stitches. I think we could honestly start stuffing a little sooner, but not quite yet. It helps me with my tension because I know what the shape needs to look like. For some reason, when I look at this plushie, another thing it makes me think about is sugar. And I've compared it to candy a couple of times, but even like here, like this just makes me think of like a block of sugar or frosting. And I don't know what that says about me. During this time when you can like see the shape of it, but it's empty, it squishes, and that always freaks me out. Okay, this is how it looks so far. You can see the shape of the head already, and once it's stuffed, it'll hold still. Ah. Okay. I have this other crochet project that I made, which is this really big mermaid cat. And it was so big, and I was completely out of stuffing. So I had to find something to stuff it with. Luckily, I had these fleece pajamas that I had not worn in like a year because it was way too hot. They were long sleeves, long pants, fleece in the summer. I think they were a little small for me too. So what I did was I cut them up and they scrunched up very similarly to stuffing. So I used that. And I think overall that project turned out really well. The head just is really floppy and I don't know how to make it hold up. So how I display it is I put it on a shelf and I like lean the head against the corner of the shelf. And it's worked so far. But like if I carry it around, the head like flops over and it looks kind of scary. All right. Next we're gonna decrease every 2 stitches. Ah, do you see why I said it like flies off? I don't know why it does that. That's why, even though these are pretty big, so they'd be like easy to use, I don't use them that much when I'm making jewelry because they're hard to open and close for some reason. And when you do open them, they just like fly around. Then we're going to start stuffing. Okay. As you can see, this looks a little strange, but now we're going to start stuffing. Okay. We'll start with just a little bit because I need to stuff the nose and I want to keep the shape. Let's add a little more, but then I think we can just keep crocheting for a little while. Okay, so now we're gonna decrease every other stitch because we're getting close to the end, which means that we'll be making the rows smaller and then sew everything up. We should have 12 stitches around at the end of this row. When I get to like the end of a project, I usually stuff it just like a tiny bit at a time as I'm closing it up so that I can see like how the shape is forming. Like this part looks a little lumpy, for example, where I need to add more. Maybe I should take some away, things like that. One, two, three, 6, 9, 12, 14. Okay, so we need a couple more decreases. All right, let's add a bit more stuffing. Okay, so now we're just going to decrease around. Then we'll take a tapestry needle and sew this up. And we're not going to put this onto the body yet, but I'll probably just like try out positions for a minute. I always like closing up the ends. It feels like weaving. We could probably add even a tiny bit more stuffing. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. I am going to leave a long tail for sewing too. I can always just like poke it through the body and pull it back out somewhere else if I have to. Okay. Sewing up. Okay. So this is how it looks. Just a cute little nose. I used to have a bad habit of overstuffing my plushies, so it would mess up with the shape, but I think it looks pretty good. It's a little bit bumpy, but I usually just like roll it around in my hands a little bit. This is the body. Right now it looks like a weird dinosaur, but basically the head will be going on here, like this. I'll have to pin it for a little while. It looks even more like a dinosaur right now. Then the back legs will go here, big wings, small wings, big wings, small wings, and the arms. And I think they're called that because they kind of look like arms. The front legs will go here to show she's standing kneeling. So if you come back around this time next week, I will see you there.